Science! Welcome everybody to another edition of the Dills Hearthstone League. We are in week number 8. That is right, the final week. And today we have a really important match. zthund versus clynch. Both players at 5-2. 6-2 guarantees a spot in the top 8 tournament. 5-3 means you'll have to get a little bit lucky with tiebreakers. I've alerted the players that they can start the match when ready, and it looks like we are going into game number 1. By the way, this is also the first Dills Hearthstone League match that I've been able to cast since the release of Journey to Un'Goro. And that is very cool. We're going to see a lot of new stuff here. In a second, once I get this spectator lined up, I will talk about some of the differences that we're seeing. So here we see on the left-hand side, in the upper left-hand corner, zthund has brought Hunter, Shaman. Oh, uh-oh. Okay, get rid of that then. I just want the game, please. Okay, we're good. zthund has brought Hunter, Shaman, and Paladin. And clynch has banned his Priest. And clynch also has a Hunter, a Warlock, and a Paladin. And his Warrior has been banned. So the meta has completely shifted. We are now fully in the Un'Goro meta, and that means everything is totally different. Paladin is back on the menu, boys, which is pretty cool, I think. So here we see the Hydrologist comes down. Looks like we got a little bit of a mirror match here. Both the guys playing Murloc Paladins. zthund looks like he's got a little bit more of a mid-range type version, less all-in on the Murlocs. In fact, the Hydrologist could still be the only one. It's the only one we've seen so far. But the Stonehill Defender, the True Silver, and the Sunkeeper Tarim does suggest more of a mid-range feel, while clynch looks to have a much more aggressive build with Murloc Tidehunters, Coldlight Seers, and of course the Blessing of Kings. So just trying to get a big board of Murlocs, get them to stick, and then buff them up and go face. And there is the Gentle Megasaur, another new card. Battle Cry, adapt your Murloc. So very aggressive body, a 4-mana 5/4. But what it also does is you pick one adapt, and it goes on all the Murlocs that are on the board. So let's say you were to have, a board of 4 or 5 Murlocs, and you get +3 attack as an adapt. That's basically like Bloodlusting that sticks around for more than one turn. So that is a pretty powerful card. Not only that, it costs one less mana, and it's a 5/4 body on its own. So that can be a very powerful card in a deck that's built to spam the board full of Murlocs. clynch might want to be a little bit cautious here, and maybe doesn't want to play into an Equality Consecrator or Equality Wild Pyromancer, something like that. But I think zthund on turn 4 might have been... No, actually, no, nothing would have died to Consecrate. So actually, there's no read right now that there isn't a Consecrate. And I really like this. This is a very aggressive line. Gonna go ahead and turn this Coldlight Seer into a Boulder Fist Ogre and start pushing face damage. And a Psychotron was made from the Stonehill Defender, so that should put a stop to some of this damage and buy a little time for zthund. And if zthund can get a couple turns in here, Spiked Ridge Steed is also a card that can turn back quite a bit, as well as Sunkeeper Tarim, and then there's another Stonehill Defender. So a lot of great options for zthund as far as defensive options. Bluegill Warrior, gonna go ahead and allow clynch to punch directly through this, and also gonna play the Rockpool Tidehunter, or Rockpool Hunter, excuse me. No Tide in this one. A lot of new cards, a lot of new names. Sunkeeper Tarim comes down, negates the buff on the Coldlight Seer, and now they are just 2 lowly 3/3s. However, Murloc Tidehunter into Gentle Megasaur could turn this board into quite a force to be reckoned with. +3 health, Poisonous. He goes directly for Poisonous. And that is quite scary right there. 3 poisonous minions on the board now. Double equality, but no ways to use the equality to actually activate and kill anything. Does get a Wicker Flame Burn Bristle, so this actually will buy a little bit more time for zthund. But really looking to find an equality or a Consecrate to go along with these double equalities in his hand. And the good news for zthund is that clynch's hand is definitely dried up a little bit. He has no Divine Favor or any type of reload. So he's just kind of spamming Murlocs and hoping for the best. zthund is at 18, which is not the healthiest of life totals. I'm going to go ahead and use the two 2 poisonous minions, which means he gets 5 face damage in this turn, but loses 2 of his poison minions. Only has 1 remaining. And Clynch decides to hold back on this Grimscale Chum, hoping to draw another Murloc next turn and be able to at least get the value on the buff here. And also, just a way to kind of prevent getting blown out by an Equality Consecrate. And there you go, he's gonna get rewarded here. Draws a Murloc War Leader. And go ahead and play both of these out. The War Leader will be a 4/4. And with 1 poisonous minion left, he could just punch right through, but he might want to use... Well, he's still going to have to punch through 2 minions because this Silver Recruit drops a 2/6 behind. So he's going to have to use this and then use the poisonous minion. The poisonous minion will survive, by the way. Alright, well there is a Forbidden Healing, so that can definitely buy zthund a little more time. Gonna drop the Loot Hoarder first and then go for the healing just to make sure he gets some board development. And, you know, only loses 4 healing, which would have gotten him to 30. 26 is as good as 30, I think, at this point. Murloc Tidecaller does have the new hero power, so this is a 2/2, essentially. And, of course, it's also being buffed by the War Leader. Interesting here, the Equality Consecrate generally doesn't work when you have... Or Equality Pyromancer doesn't work when you have War Leaders on the board, but the Equality Consecrate still works. As the 2 damage is plenty. All of the Murlocs go down to 2 health with the War Leader on board. And now it looks like Clynch is going to turn on the heat and just send everything face. And zthund needs to draw exactly Consecrate, I think. I don't know how many things have died from the N'Zoth, so I'm going to go ahead and draw 1 more card with this Loot Hoarder. And still not a Consecrate. I really don't think there's been enough Death Rattle minions that the N'Zoth will save him. Unfortunately, I believe that's going to do it for game number 1. Clynch's aggressive Murloc Paladin just a little too much. And able to punch through all of the taunts that zthund was putting down. Although zthund did not... zthund probably had a fairly weak draw, drawing both of his equalities there. Alright, going into game number 2. Clynch is up now 1-0. He has Warlock and Hunter remaining, and zthund still has the Paladin, as we are playing Conquest. You can also choose to swap into another deck, maybe go for the Hunter. It's good to see Hunter back, by the way. I mean, Hunter is a class that was missing from pretty much all of DHL last season. But now we see both players are rocking Hunters. It's very strong again as a mid-range build. Not a lot of Quest Hunters, but just a solid mid-range build. Lots of 1-drops, lots of sticky minions, and of course a hero power that continues to pressure the face. And zthund's going to stick with the Paladin. I think the Paladin does have a decent chance to be able to stabilize against this Hunter. Again, we see both the qualities in the hand of zthund. And Clynch has one of the most aggressive hands you'll ever find. All 3 1-drops. And maybe throw back one of these Fiery Bats. Maybe even just throw back 2 and just keep 1/1-drop since you're going first. I'm not sure. I haven't played enough Hunter so far in the new meta to really understand exactly how you're supposed to be mulliganing. And oh, interesting, keeps the Fiery Bat but throws back the Alley Cat. I kind of like keeping Alley Cat over that because of a Crackling Razor Maw, which generally gets guaranteed to have a minion on board. And when you can adapt one of your beasts on turn 2, it's pretty strong. Although against the Paladin, there's it's not a ping class. There's a lot of lack of options here to actually kill a Fiery Bat on turn 1. So that's probably what Clynch was thinking, and that makes a lot of sense, actually. zthund now thinking about whether he should coin something out here. Decides not to, and Firefly's in the build. That's a pretty good card here for him. That's going to bridge the gap into turn number 3, as it's a 1-drop that creates a 1-drop immediately that you can play. Alright, zthund now going to go drop a Loot Hoarder over the Hydrologist. In a way, I think this is because Hydrologist will be essentially a 3-drop next turn, as you can play the Hydrologist and the Secret immediately. Always Heifer. And I'm going to make one little trade with the Firefly. Well, not even the Firefly. He used the Flame Elemental, excuse me, which is the token that the Firefly generates. So we're going to see a coin Consecrate here to clean up this board. And that's, yeah. That is a nice clean clear here. Gets a lot of pressure off the board. Although, Clynch is going to have an instant reload with Alley Cat and Rat Pack. And this is why Hunter is pretty strong. They continue to apply pressure to your face. Barnes comes down, looking for some sort of a taunt minion, I would assume. Does find a Cairn Bloodhoof. That's got to be one of the best options in the deck. This is a bit of an awkward turn suddenly for Clynch. You don't really want to play a Tundra Rhino. The battle cry effect of the Jeweled Macaw is fantastic here, though. Instead of, in the old days, you would get a web spinner and you'd have to wait a turn to get the beast. Well, now you just get it right away with the Jeweled Macaw. And we're seeing all this damage get pushed to the face. Trying to put an end to this game as quickly as possible. That's a fantastic draw. Stonehill Defender is going to... Oh, into Wickerflame Burn Bristle. Although, is Wickerflame better than Tar Creeper? Wickerflame does give you some healing on top of the... Oh, man. I wish that zthund had thought about that one for just another second. There was a Redemption in there, and you can play Redemption with your Wickerflame Burn Bristle. That's 4 attacks is required to get through that thing. And I think that would have been a better option. He would have probably healed for 8 next turn and ate up a whole bunch of this board, but instead he instantly took the Noble Sacrifice. I think going back and looking at that decision later, with a little more thought, he might have switched up and gone with the Redemption. Alright, getting a little bit low here, and it's only turn 6. No ability to play anything like a Tyrion or a Ragnaros here. But yeah, you see this? You stop 1 attack, whereas the Redemption would have essentially stopped 4 attacks, or 2 extra attacks, right? Because Wickerflame is the only taunt minion. It would have to die first. It does kind of eat up the whole board, but not with the Houndmaster draw. And out comes a Tundra Rhino. Alright, so is going to gain 4 life here, but takes another 2. Sunkeeper Tarim's not so great. Oh, Consecrate could be very useful here. He needs to start thinking about gaining some health, but really keeping this board clear is the most important thing. Looks like we're going to see maybe just an attack of the face with a Truce Over to try to gain some health instead. You can use a Truce Over, attack face, play a dude. Okay, just going to play a Sunkeeper Tarim. This is okay as well. I don't remember how those trades went down. I can't remember if there was a different way to do that, but I'll have to look again later. Alright, so gets down the Houndmaster on the Direwolf Alpha. This is actually pretty awkward now because there's no guarantee that the Ragnaros is going to heal your face if you make some attacks here. So we'll see, maybe zthund just doesn't make any attacks, and that is what he did. He wants to guarantee that that 8 health goes directly to his own face. And this might be stabilization, actually. You know, you can kill this Sunkeeper Tarim. Now, he's trying to think of a way to prevent the Ragnaros from 100% hitting the face here, but I don't think there is anymore. And now, of course, a Tyrion can come down. You can use the damaged minion.
Put your faith in the light.
I would use the damaged minion here to kill the 4/3. Oh, I think that's a little bit of a mistake. Just there still is maybe some weird ways that you could end up dying, but it's probably okay. Yeah, see, there's a kill command. If somehow he was able to find. Actually, I guess there's probably no way with 1 card. Now looking at the board state. So zthund does actually go ahead and close that one out. That's the power of the Paladin right now. They can really turn games that look really bad over. And once they find stabilization, there's a lot of healing options, a lot of great taunt options. And of course, you know, Sunkeeper Tarim can just reverse board states in a huge way. So that's going to be a 1-to-1 score now going into game number 3. We'll go ahead and see what the 2 players pick. Now, zthund is left with Hunter and Shaman. I would imagine if zthund chooses Hunter, it's probably the mid-range style Hunter. Shaman is a little bit up in the air. There's a lot of options right now. You can go, you know, Elemental Shaman. You can Elemental with some Jade in there. And we are going to see the Shaman and the Warlock now. You can also go Murloc Shaman if you really want to. Alright, looks like this is a Zoo deck for Clynch, so very aggressive lineup from Clynch. And zthund has Looks like a very slow shaman build with Volcano. Volcano is going to be quite good against the Zoo build. That is a fantastic card for zthund to have in his opening hand. Servant of Calamos as well, so this is definitely a elemental shaman, but with a Jade Claws, so it might be that kind of hybrid version of it. I don't mind zthund coining out the Jade Claws here. Jade Claws is going to overload you anyway on turn number 2 when you play it, so it kind of stops a few things, but you know, the first 2 turns you're going to be able to turn back quite a bit with that 2/2 weapon and also the 1/1 that comes along with it. It's like an insta coin. Oh, he's going with the totem, Manatide totem. I thought he was insta coining out the Lightning Storm, but he wants to get a little bit gas. And there's a Tidal Surge, so pretty defensive build here for zthund. Silverware Golem, but no discard mechanics. Now we'll see if Clynch is greedy and goes for the tap, or just plays a 3/3. Oh, glory day! He played the 3/3 for 3 instead of tapping and then not doing anything this turn. I think when you're playing Zoo, it's really important to just maintain tempo, and sometimes that just means you play a 3-mana 3/3. In celebration of Clynch's decision not to be greedy and make the tempo play, I'm going to launch a rock. And I like the fact that he traded with the Manatide Totem. It looked like he briefly considered going face there, but I think that's definitely the wrong decision. Interesting turn here for zthund. You know, the Lightning Storm is not a guaranteed clear, and not to mention it's going to overload him for 2 going into the next turn, so there's a pretty good play here where you can make a trade and then Ravenous Paradox the remaining 1/1, and that looks like what Clynch is going to go for. Double adapting is very strong. Wind Fury is scary. Goes for can't be targeted though. And a Death Rattle is actually really good here too, as you know, Zoo decks just live on the board. They want stuff on the board. So I like taking he goes for the +1/+1 though. But I always prefer in Zoo decks taking that Death Rattle drop 2 1/1s. It's just a very strong mechanic for a Zoo. Zoos can take advantage of that in a huge way. Goes for a Devolve here. And gets a middling result because of this Flesh-Eating Ghoul. And because of that, isn't going to make any attacks here. Probably setting up for the Volcano the next turn. And Volcano should be pretty huge. I don't think there's any amount of health. Oh, this is a very interesting combination of effects here. He's going to get the Adapt. If he can get himself the Death Rattles, he doesn't know the Volcano is coming, but the Death Rattle was definitely the best pick. So if you look at this, you got 5, 8, 9, 12, 13 health on board. Well, here's the thing. Volcano deals 15 damage randomly split, so it is going to kill this whole board. And here it comes, and that's the end of that board. If you haven't seen the animation of Volcano, it is awesome. Alright, Firefly. You can play the Firefly and the Elemental, and then Defender between the two of them. Making a pretty decent board of 3 2/3s. It's got to be the best play on the board right now, so it looks like that's what Clynch is going to go for.
My shield for Argon.
So zthund is overloaded for 2, so only has 4 mana available. It does have this Tidal Surge, which is going to heal up, as well as remove one of these minions pretty cleanly. Well, that's a great pickup there. He can play the Direwolf, then play the Darkshire Librarian without discarding, then tap and see what he gets. That's the correct sequencing here. So you put the Direwolf in between these 2 minions, then you put the Darkshire on the left because there's a taunt minion there.
The truth is in here.
Look at that, Clynch playing like a pro, and now he gets to tap without discarding. Gets himself a Darkshire Councilman. Continues to smash face. We do see a White Eyes come. Okay, so Blaze Caller doesn't have any elemental activation yet, but Lightning Storm going to come down. I guess there was no plan to totem this turn. Should have totemed before he Lightning Stormed. And there's the punish. Immediately sees the Wrath of Air Totem would have been rolled, and he would have been able to clear the whole board without taking that extra damage. I was confused for a second. I was wondering if I misread the hand, if there was something else to play there. But yeah, just a simple misplay.
My shield for Argon.
And clynch rebuilding a very strong board. Although Hex will be able to turn this 4/6 into pretty meager frog, but he's just going to go ahead and drop the white eyes. I think that's probably correct. It's going to eat up a few attacks. Actually, it's only going to eat up one attack now that I look at it, because Flame Imp is going to buff the 4/6 to a 5. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and use a Soulfire instead. This does allow him to get more face damage in. Although, could have gotten double attack and Soulfire to face. That would have been 8 damage this turn instead of 7. So technically missed out on damage, but kept his 5/6 healthy. So there is that. Hot Spring Guardian comes down, heals the face for a little bit. Still gonna need a little bit of luck here to turn back this pressure, but you know, that's a elemental activator, so we'll have Blaze Caller as an option next turn, as well as the Devil Servant of Kalamos. So we can kind of get the elemental train rolling here. Alright, able to push through, get 3 more damage to face. Continue to apply that pressure. Oh wow! So now there's a tough spot here. Does have spell damage though on the lightning, or the Jade Lightning, so you can kill that. Jinyu Water Speaker back up and drop a totem. Looking for a taunt totem here to eat up an attack. 50-50 there, and he does get it. All right, so zthund might have found a way to stabilize. clynch is trying to find a way to get this last little bit of damage through. Alcazar Zip and a Devilsaur Egg. Put those both on the left. I like putting the egg next to the wolf to activate it, but of course, zthund's going to be able to decide where these attacks go. Still though, only at 5 health, and running low on defensive options here. Gonna probably... Oh wait, there was no elemental played last turn, was there? So no ability to Blaze Caller here. Doesn't roll the Taunt Totem either. Alright, there's 4 damage on board. I think if you're zthund, you just play the Aya and just try to have the most bodies on board. Now you're hoping through 2 draws. Oh my. Okay, we've got a 1 out of 7 here for lethal.
Get it out!
And knife goes face, and that does it. clynch is going to take game number 3. A 1 and 7 with 6 minions on board. Needed the knife to go face. Esports, ladies and gentlemen. Esports. That's all I gotta say. So congratulations. clynch goes up 2 games to 1. Finds a victory with his zoo deck. And now we're going into game number 4. And we're getting down to the wire here. clynch only needs 1 more win with a Hunter, by the way. Hunter is a pretty hard deck to turn away twice in a row. But zthund does have a Hunter of his own, as well as that defensive Elemental Shaman. Just kind of a rough game there for zthund. He was never able to quite turn the game back a little bit. He couldn't get Elemental Activators started, so a lot of his subsequent turns were pretty weak because he was having to use removal options. Volcano was very well timed, got a lot of value out of that, but just unfortunately wasn't able to just kind of find that one turn where he could really stem the tide and reverse the pressure.
For Doomhammer, let the hunt begin.
Alright, so clynch with a little bit of an awkward starting hand here. Gonna throw everything away and look for some 1-drops. And finds them. Scavenging Hyena, following up an Alley Cat, is one of the best starting hands you can have as a Hunter. Not to mention, now there's a Direwolf Alpha as well. zthund really wanted to find a Maelstrom Portal here. I don't know if we saw one in the build though last game, so clynch can immediately just start applying pressure right now. Goes ahead and throws down the Direwolf. That's 4 damage to face on turn 2. Jade Claw is going to come down, turn back the Direwolf, but already taken 6 damage. And the damage is not about to stop. Here comes Scavenging Hyena with a Firefly. He's going to go ahead and poke one of the 1/1s, which will make the Scavenging Hyena 4/3. And no more options now to... oh, that's a great draw. He can actually punch the 4-3 in the Maelstrom portal, clearing off all of the beasts this turn, which does deny a Houndmaster going into turn 4. So that is pretty important right there. Not to mention he could get like a charging minion and then run it into this 1-1 and have a full board clear, but this does not get the charging minion. Interesting turn here for Clynch. He could decide to prioritize that hero power and start using it as often as possible. Just play Kindly Grandmother and push the button. Get 3 more damage in this turn. I kind of like that. You're a little weaker on the board, but it just buys you a little bit more damage. If you play the Flame Elemental, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to get that damage in. It's like this here. If a hero power doesn't happen on a turn, that hero power can never happen again, right? This Flame Elemental can be played on any subsequent turn. It's always in your hand. But a turn 4 hero power can never happen again. Turn 4 is gone. And now you see, like, the Flame Elemental is not even going to get a hit in on the face here as it gets stopped by the Guardian. However, the attack of it, well, he is going to get actually hit because of the draw of the Eagle Horn Bow. So, ended up kind of working out in the end. Although he may decide to clear this up, then yeah, he does. I agree with that. Plays around Flame Tongue Totem. We're going to see Coin, Double Igneous Elemental. This is a very interesting card that was added. Being used heavily in the Quest Rogue right now. Because it gets you 2 Flame Elementals. And Clynch is drawing fairly strongly at this point. He's looking at a lot of damage out of hand right now. Kill command 5 plus 3 from the bow, plus 4 on the board. He's got 14 damage this turn with hero power. You could get him down to 5 if he wanted to. And actually, I mean, he doesn't know this, but there's no healing in zthund's hand right now. I would kind of like to see all of this go face, and that's exactly what happens. Even the bow charge. Alright, we might see some volcanic action here. May feel like he has to get this board cleaned up. He's gonna go for the Jade Lightning, though. It's going to be able to remove all of the beasts, which is pretty good. And now has a full grip of Flame Elementals in hand. So these are really, really good because they're 1 mana elementals. They can activate your future elemental turns. So I think zthund right now is hoping that Clynch overcommits to the board. Let's see, this is 2, 3... Is this lethal? No, it's not lethal because he doesn't have the ability to hero power as well this turn. He was very close there. I think he was 1 off. And Jade Chieftain will put some taunts on the board. Oh boy. And that's going to do it. Kill command and hero power is lethal. As long as Clynch can add 5 plus 2.
Well played.
And there you go. Clynch is going to take this game and this series 3 games to 1. And he will go to 6-2 on the season, meaning that Clynch has punched his ticket into the DHL Top 8 tournament, which will be happening probably in a few weeks here. So congratulations to him. Very well played by both players. Clynch just sheer aggression, able to punch through a lot of zthund's more greedy builds and able to find that victory. So, I mean, zthund is going to be relying on some decent results in tiebreakers if it comes to that. I believe there might be 1 or 2 5-3 players making it, depending on how everything shakes out. But we should have quite a few 6-2 guys and a couple of 7-1s. So very interesting to see how it all plays out. Looking forward to casting some more matches as we kind of find out where things are going to go from here. But thanks, guys, for watching. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're watching on Twitch. I'll be back in just a moment with more Hearthstone action right after this. See you guys in a little bit.